Okay, final video. I left it for last because it's maybe not the most important one. I'm not even sure how necessary it is to share, but I thought I'd talk a little bit about Cecil Bell, who's the incumbent in House District 3, and why I really wanted someone else to be the representative. Cecil has a long history as a representative, and I think he's been there 10 or 12 years already. There are no term limits in Texas, which is another problem. And I'm sure Kristen supports term limits and the other two candidates I mentioned. So Cecil, I think, has a lot of conservative feelings or beliefs, but over time his willingness to act on them has been watered down. And I'm trying to be fair to him because there's actually a possibility he might watch this video. I've talked with Cecil Bell on the phone and met with him specifically about the abolition of abortion. And he initially gave signs of wanting to represent me, wanting to listen to me and caring about this issue. But he never followed through. In fact, during the last session, I have a friend who's a lobbyist on the issue of abolishing abortion, and she visited his office many times, and he kept on saying, oh, let's change, is it possible to change this about the wording of the bill? Is it possible to do that? But when they were able to make a few minor adjustments that satisfied what he was concerned about, he didn't follow through. He didn't author the bill, even though he had some status as being in the in-group in the Texas House. He did not use any of that influence in favor of abolishing abortion. And as a result, over 50,000 babies will have been killed by their mothers and parents, fathers, between the last session in 2025 and the next session in 2027. So, and that's a conservative estimate, 25,000 babies per year. Yeah, what I meant about him being in the in-group is he went against the grassroots, went against the Republican majority in choosing the Speaker of the House, who is extremely powerful and influential. This goes into a lot of backstory and history, but he voted for someone named Dustin Burrows. Again, Dustin Burrows sort of does some conservative things, but in order to gain power, he made a lot of concessions with Democrats, including giving a lot of money to Democrat representatives, including having them chair subcommittees and have increased power as vice chairs in other committees. And again, the session was disappointing in some ways for many grassroots activists, even though they did get some things done, and some things that were controversial, like money for vouchers, but that's a whole bit different topic. Cecil Bell, because of his vote in favor of vouchers, also known as school choice, was given a blanket auto pen endorsement by President Trump. And that goes for all of the other incumbent representatives who voted for vouchers, which I think is really foolish. Like, President Trump doesn't know who Cecil Bell is. He doesn't know what other things he stands for, and other representatives that are a lot worse than Cecil Bell, he gave the same endorsement to. So anyway, you can do some study on Cecil Bell. There's an interesting website called House of Bad Cards that gives specific bills that he supported that most conservatives would not like. One thing that it said on there is that he aligned with 72 different lobby groups 80% of the time. And he voted yes to spending bills 93% of the time. And again, he's been there a long time. I was really hoping that he would choose to retire and just leave the seat open for someone like Kristen. He's a nice, affable fellow, and he likes being a grandpa, and I think it would be great if he focused on that in this season of his life. But he chose to run again, and you know, I believe in being respectful. If he is reelected, then he is also the one that God has chosen to be our representative and one of the authorities over us. So I believe in being respectful. If he gets reelected, I'll try to contact him, even though I don't know if he'll want to talk to me again. But we do have this privilege in this country, and especially in Texas, of having influence and the ability to support the person we think would best represent us, and I think that's Kristen Plaisance.